What's going on, you guys? The Motorcycle Boss, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a quick review and demonstration on this Motion Pro Cable Luber version 3. Subscribers, welcome back, and if you're new here, my channel is based all around motorcycle mechanics and how to save money, so if any of that interests you, feel free to click the subscribe button, and if you think about it, the worst thing that'll happen is you might learn something in one of my videos. So with that being said, let's get into it. So if you notice inside there, you'll see that cable that's moving around, and that's just connected to this clutch lever. That cable can rust out, but not only rust out, it can fray, it can get a bunch of gunk inside this cable sheath or sheathing, and that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna shoot some lube through this so that way we can lube it up, make it slide nice and easy. Now, because you're gonna be getting a lot of oil that's gonna come out the other end, you wanna make sure that you put a rag down there to catch any drips. We're gonna screw in this adjuster all the way down. We're gonna pull that cable through the slit. All right, so I just wanted to make a point here real quick. When you're disconnecting this cable right here, if you cannot pull this cable out, you're gonna want to follow this line, this clutch cable line, all the way to the other side. This is where my bike took me, but this little nut right there, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but you got one here and you got one there. The one that's closer to the clutch, at least on this bike, you're gonna want to, or I mean the clutch lever, you're gonna wanna loosen that nut, and then you're gonna wanna move this whole cable assembly down further, and that'll give you some more free space up top. So now let's disassemble this piece. So you have an outer and you have an inner shell, and then you have a rubber grommet on the inside as well, and I'll show you that in just a second. So that rubber grommet is split, and it will allow you to wrap it around the sheathing of the cable. This is just a little plunger that has some lube on it. I just wanted to take this whole thing apart just to make sure that all the pieces were where they were supposed to be. So you're going to take the outer housing and slide it over the cable. The rubber grommet goes next. And you're going to make sure that the smaller end of the grommet, because you have a fat end and a smaller end, the smaller end faces the end of the cable. And all you got to do is screw them together. And as far as pressure, you want to make sure that it doesn't have a ton of wiggle room and that it's just nice and firm. Now I have Cable Life that I'm going to be using as my cable loop for this one, but Motion Pro does make a very good one that I will link in the description as well for you guys. Probably the hardest part of this whole system is just trying to get that frickin' red straw in all honesty. Now as you pressurize the system with that fluid, it's going to come out the other side. That's what the tool's designed for, so that's why we put that rag down there. It'll just force all of that pressure out the other end. Then you have the final plunger, and that is just to force any excess fluid within the housing through the cable. Now this did leak on my hands just a little bit, even though it's not supposed to. Now I'll talk about that in just a second. So just make sure you have a couple rags on hand, because when you disassemble this, everything on the inside is going to be covered in oil. And now we're just gonna put it all back together. So slide that end in like you did before, slide the cable through the groove, and make sure you pull the cable and get it right into that adjuster. And now we're gonna back the adjuster out to retension the cable. Now every bike is gonna have a specification as far as that gap. You wanna make sure that typically 2 to 3 millimeters is what I go for, or some people either do a penny or a nickel they put in there. It's really up to you. But you do want to have some play. All right, you guys, that's going to be it. I got a nice, easy to squeeze lever now, nice and smooth. This is how you're going to use that tool. Now, I do have to say one thing about the tool though. It claims that it is leakless, or you're not able to get it to leak like the old one. And in case you guys don't remember, This is the old one and the new one. This one leaked a lot whenever you used it. This one only leaks a little bit from the base, and I think that just might be dependent on the one that you get, as well as how tight you tighten it and such. But mine just had a little bit of leak from here, and getting the red straw in that little hole in the end is a nightmare. It only goes in just a tiny bit, like about that far. So that kind of sucks. Maybe that's just the one that I got. But I would say, personally, this one is faster to use, but this one leaks less. So you kind of have weigh your odds with those two. But everything that I used in this video is going to be linked in the description. So feel free to take a look there and go ahead and purchase one of these or whichever one you'd like. I do have a video on this one as well in case you guys are interested. Go ahead and take a look at what I have. It'll also be linked in the description as well. Go ahead and give me a big fat thumbs up. Go ahead and like the video. It helps me out a lot. I would really appreciate it, you guys. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.